Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Lash Journey Podcast. My name is Tiffani, and today I'm going to talk to you all about where I started in the industry, where I am today, basically my origin story. I want to let you know a little bit about my background and why I am able to talk to you all about the things that we are going to talk about on this podcast. So let's get started. Okay, so a little background about me. I initially started in the industry as a makeup artist for brands like MAC, NARS Cosmetics. I was really passionate at the time about doing bridal makeup. And when I was first given the opportunity to learn how to do lash extensions, it was from my teacher in aesthetics school. And to be completely honest, I don't know that she was really qualified to teach it, but I took that class because I was so excited to actually learn something new. It was very new in the industry, especially in Delaware, where I'm from. Barely anybody was doing them. So I took that class, and I think it was $400 at the time. And I kind of learned how to do them in the thoughts that I was going to be able to make a little bit of extra side money to offer it to my brides when I would, before their big day, getting married. So at first when I learned, I really didn't know that it was going to be a big deal or as big of a deal as it ended up being. I remember the first few people that I did, god awful, by the way, but I remember the first few people that I did just posting photos and people commenting on Instagram, like, what are those? Like, how do I get them? What in the world? Like, I've never seen anything like this. And I guess I had known about them a couple of years prior because I lived, back in the DC area, but when it came to Delaware, we were 5 years behind anywhere else. So I really feel like part of how fast I grew back then had a lot to do with that. So I was one of the first people in the state that actually had a following already because of my makeup. And once I started doing lashes, things just exploded. So getting back to that, at the time I was taking clients. I had just finished aesthetic school and I was taking clients out of my tiny little apartment. I saw a job posting for a local spa that was looking for somebody to do lash extensions, and they were going to offer training. And I thought it would be a really great way to just kind of get a formal training and dip my feet into it. I was still very serious about being my own boss, running my my wedding makeup business. I had no intention of really working for anybody else in the long term, but I did take that position to gain the knowledge I needed and the experience and just learn what it was like to work in a spa and be around others. And at that time, I can honestly say it was the biggest blessing and curse for me at the same time. I learned that what not to do in a spa. So I didn't have a great experience working there. I only lasted about 3 months before I went back to working completely solo out of my apartment. But I did learn a lot of really great things along the way, which was like the proper way to do eyelash extensions. And, I had a really great mentor when it came to that, but it just wasn't the place for me. It was a lot of negativity. And I think that planted the seed in me from the very beginning that I knew I kind of wanted to go in that direction one day, but I knew all of the things that I did not want it to be. I wanted to create a really healthy environment for others. So when I started like getting really booked and busy, I knew that eventually I was going to want to grow into a new bigger space one day. So that first year for me was really crazy, to say the least. I literally popped off so fast that it was really hard for me to keep up with it. And again, remember at the time, the lash community didn't exist. I couldn't even find anyone else in the state of Delaware to do my lashes. Like, I remember I was driving or taking the train up to New York just to get my own lashes done at the time. And because I was one of those key people in the state doing it, my book honestly got almost completely full by that first 6-month mark. So when it came to deciding to grow into a different space, I decided I was going to start renting from a local hair salon down the street. And that ended up being really cool for me because I think that by taking my business from being a business out of my apartment to then a business inside of a hair salon, where I was still like I was subletting, I was running my own business, but people saw that as being, a step in a professional direction. And things just really exploded from there. When it came time to decide whether or not I was going to renew that lease and be there another year, I knew at that point that this was the time that I needed to start looking for my own space because there was no way I was going to be able to sustain what it was taking to run that business on my own at that point in time. I think, it was a lot. And I'm sure a lot of you listening can actually relate to that too, especially if you are still the only one, taking your appointments and checking your clients out and answering all the emails and doing all the marketing. Like it is a lot. And yes, the payoff can be so big. And I think that a lot of people get into our industry because they want to make that first six figures. And I'm here to tell you that it's possible. I made six figures in my first year, but I was completely stressed and burnt out to the point that I knew that I was going to have to hire a team in order to kind of take some of that load off of my own shoulders. So that brings me into what happened next with my business was I started looking for spaces and I ended up actually finding a space that was maybe only 5 minutes away from my original studio. And as crazy luck would have it, I think, and this doesn't happen with commercial spaces very often, but I think that they were running like a $300 off per month lease special. And I took it because I went from like a literal 6 by 7 foot room in this hair salon to paying only $150 extra to have a whole 900 square foot salon. And it was like everything just laid itself out in front of me in the exact right time, the way that it was supposed to. And I did it. And I signed my first lease. And along with that came hiring my first employees and hiring my first other esthetician that was going to start taking the clients that I was no longer going to be able to take. And I knew you see a lot of people, I think, closing off their books when they get to that point. I think one of the things that set me apart or made my business journey a little bit different was that I knew that I never wanted to have to turn someone away. So when I got to that point of being that booked, I knew that the next step was to hire someone and teach them the trade too. So that was kind of a no-brainer for me. I ended up training the girl. We got into the new space. I think at the time we had, 3 rooms, and I ended up having another friend reach out to me later that she wanted to learn how to do lashes, and things started growing very, very quickly. I was very lucky that I think between my work, like the quality of my work, the quality and standard of my higher level of customer service, and just the fact that I was putting processes in place from the beginning to have everything run smooth and give the client such a great experience, the word of mouth in my state just like exploded. And we ended up having a really well-oiled machine that just kind of like attracted clientele like a magnet. And then we were able to keep them and retain them because of our, our service skill and that service we were offering them, or the customer service that we were offering them. So let's cut to, that went on for probably about 1.5 years. I slowly went from, just me to then having 5 employees and having somebody finally to run my front desk efficiently. And I had the crazy idea that I wanted to open up a second studio. And a lot of people ask me at the time, like, how did you know you were ready? And I didn't. I just knew that it was a good idea because of the area that we were going to go into. Remember, there weren't a lot of businesses like mine around. And honestly, there still aren't in the state as far as like how large of a lash based studio we are. We have spas that have a lot of employees, but like we are primarily known for lashes. And at that time we had such a great thing going at our first location. I knew that this area really needed a business like ours there, and it happened to be the hometown where I was from. So I had, somewhat of a following there too. I knew that the people that lived in that town, they didn't really like to travel up north where my original studio was. So I knew that if we went into that space, it would just blow up automatically, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So we opened there. We opened there in 2017, about a year and a half after I opened up the first studio. And I quickly went from having 5 employees to then doubling to 10. And I guess at the time I just figured, I've gotten it this far. I can figure it out. And it was such a crazy time and rude awakening for me to really realize what goes into running a successful, healthy business, being able to have these systems that are copy and pasteable, and being able to communicate with 2 teams in 2 different locations and what that looked like. And, as far as having a manager that was now helping me manage both locations, like it was nuts. But I think something I'm really proud of is like I still have some of those original people in both locations working for me. And because of, my ability and willing to learn how to lead, we were able to literally like double our growth almost every single year, to the point where we're at now, where we're actually on target this year to hit 1.7 million in revenue between both of my locations. And it's just mind blowing to me. And I think where I'm at now is that I have created such a successful business model of how to continue to replicate this, or how to know how to lead or feed my employees the things that they need in order to really grow their own careers. And that is what has made my business successful. And it has allowed me to be able to, now I can honestly and proudly say that about a year ago, I was able to completely step back, and I don't have to take clients. My business does run without me there. I was able to take 2 whole maternity leaves. My first maternity leave was, I think, a total of 5 months. My second, I took a good 4 months. And to be able to do that and still pay myself and still, grow, it was like, wow, look at how cool that this little lash business that I started out of my apartment, look at what it's grown to and the freedom that it has allowed me as a business owner. And, I'm only 35 years old. And it's crazy to me that if I didn't want to, if I wanted to go on a month-long vacation, or if I wanted to do whatever it is that my heart desires, I have been able to build this business that sustains that lifestyle for me. And in taking that step away, I realized that what I have been able to create here, I wanted to really be able to give that back to our community. I am so wildly passionate about helping other women and other people succeed in this industry. I love the camaraderie we have in this industry. And I'm sure if you haven't already met me at one of the lash events that the industry puts on, you're going to meet me soon, because I love to be there. I love to really get in there and see what everybody is dealing with and find ways that I can help them to create this kind of freedom for themselves too. So that's basically me in a nutshell. And I'm really looking forward to being able to be a part of all of your journeys in your business, your careers, giving you or trying to help you navigate what it means to have a healthy, balanced, what is balance? Nobody's ever really balanced, but what it looks like to be able to navigate those issues of how to run a successful business and how to be a present partner or a present mother. And because I'm here to tell you that it is completely possible. And I just want to be your friend in this journey, and I would love to hear from you. So if you have anything that, really weighs on you as a business owner and in your own journey, please feel free to leave a comment. I will read all of them. I will make sure that I can help you and serve you in the best way that I possibly can. So, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I'm really looking forward to some of the episodes that are to come. We're going to get all into how to run a successful, happy, healthy, commission-based salon. We're going to talk about what other avenues you can take to scale your business. Maybe a salon's not your thing, but I am here to help you really, truly get past that initial 6 figures. That what's next? How do I set this up for success for the rest of my life? I am your girl, and I am so excited to really be able to be a part of your journey with that. So take care. I'll see you soon, and I'll talk to you then.